final season of the Walking Dead Telltale series might just be the best. Okay, now hear me out first. The finale of the franchise, released in August of 2018, is composed of an exciting and unpredictable storyline that matches beautifully with the perfectly crafted characters, making for a season that I just couldn't keep my eyes off of. Each character had a fantastically unique and intriguing personality that brought about some of the most emotional scenes in the entire franchise. It mixes together the best parts of the last 3 games, whilst also adding some amazing features to produce a stunningly navigated story. So in this video, I'll share with you my playthrough, covering the heartwarming highs and the devastating lows that come with the final season of Telltale's The Walking Dead. The first of 4 chapters to tie up the series begins with a beautiful welcome to what the graphics of this final season is bringing us, with a panned shot of a walker slowly crawling across a gravel road, where it's almost as if we're given a moment to take in this stunning view. As the car flies past with Clementine in the front seat, we get to truly see how this final season almost proves that it, kind of annoyingly, required 4 seasons for Telltale to truly discover which art style worked best for their game, almost finding a middle ground between the almost over-the-top realism from the New Frontier, mixed with those heavy defining sketch lines from the opening season. The speed racer Clementine is joined on the road by AJ, Rebecca and Alvin's son from season 2, looking far older than in the flashbacks we saw in the last season. In fact, we're almost 4 years ahead of the New Frontier and around 8.5 years into the apocalypse now, with AJ being about 5 or 6 and Clementine being about 16. With AJ clearly bored and also incredibly hungry, we try our best to distract him with, is that a broccoli?
Hey there, Alvin Jr. It's me, Disco Broccoli. Word on the street is that you want to eat me. Is that true? Do you want to eat me?
It also turns out that making AJ practice his reading from a cooking magazine won't help the hunger either, so we hand him some leftover snacks before coming up to our first pit stop at a dilapidated train station. I've got to say, I'm a big fan of the graphics in this season. Even the things as simple as Clem's hair moving in the wind, as well as the letter on her baseball hat peeling off, are so simple yet so effective, and already the characters seem a lot more expressive in their facial movements than they have done before. I can already tell that AJ is a cheeky yet attentive kid who really looks up to his big sister role model in Clem. The two get out the car with a crowbar to explore the broken down building, noticing a welcoming sign on the outside, which gets ignored as we head on further. In the other seasons of The Walking Dead, it couldn't really be determined whether Telltale wanted you to take time in exploring the environment, or would rather just rush you into the next bit of action to keep that dopamine fix high at all times. But this game managed to put both of those together to make exploring absolutely worthwhile by adding something so simple yet addictively rewarding as collectibles in the environment. In season 1, the exploration felt pointless, as you'd just be rewarded with a voice line that has no impact, and in season 3 you could poke a mattress for fun.
Okay, now I'm sorry I did that.
What? But these collectibles made for a refreshing interaction with the environment. Anyway, after removing a zombie's kneecaps, we pried open the doors to the building and made sure to reinforce our teachings to AJ, telling him to always find a way out whenever we find a new place. The idea of teaching AJ about survival is an extremely common trend in this game, with the relationship between the two becoming pretty clear that AJ looks up to Clementine massively, relying on what she does to determine his actions and behaviour, which can have some considerable impact later down the line. I will briefly mention that you'll see my controls change from keyboard to controller purely because this game felt almost unplayable with a mouse. They've changed the camera angle to an over-the-shoulder shot, kinda like Resident Evil, and it made the sensitivity absolutely awful to control while moving, but after switching to controller, this didn't seem to be too much of a problem. Inside the station, we're met with a pretty sorry sight, with a walker couple tied up.
They can't get us?
They might be able to. Let's kill them first. We find a locked door which probably opens with the key next to the undead couple, and after reading a letter that they'd left behind, asking for them to be left as they are, it's clear I share the same ethics as Clementine in this situation. Yeah, come on, let's take them out. Why is this not an option? Let's kill these zombies. Why is this not an option? For whatever reason, we're left to do more searching rather than just taking out the zombies, coming across a small gap that AJ could possibly climb through to unlock the door from the other side. But thankfully, AJ has the smarts to prefer taking out the zombies instead.
We should kill the monsters.
Yes, thank you, AJ.
They're not people.
Good idea.
Well, they asked to be left alone.
They're not people anymore. Come on, Clem.
So what's best?
You of all people. It does seem that we'll have to make our choices very carefully in front of AJ in this game, but this couldn't have been simpler. Yes, these people asked to be left alone when they were people, but 8 years into the apocalypse, you can't really be empathetic with the undead, leaving Clem to take the zombies out from the front for some reason, rather than from behind, grabbing the key and heading into the back room, where we find bullets and a hidden hatch beneath the mattresses, which is hiding a huge stash of canned food. Is that beans? I love beans, they're the bomb! Oh, my bad. The booby-trapped supplies sends an explosion ringing through the air, and surprise surprise, a hell of a lot of walkers make their way in, forcing Clem and AJ to make a break for the car. We get greeted with a much cooler fighting mechanic too, which adds a bit of strategy to taking out attackers by using a new stunning mechanic to disable a zombie if you're getting a bit overwhelmed. Although I think AJ's got the hang of things. AJ, look at this. Despite managing to make it to the car, the walkers still start surrounding us, and after lodging the car key into one of their eyes, we're left to gradually roll downhill, ending in us pinning the keyed zombie to a tree and managing to get the engine started again, which honestly is the worst thing that we could have done, as I genuinely struggle to tell what on earth is happening here, with the car slamming back and forth and eventually landing us upside down in a ditch, where the last things we see being walkers hitting the ground and AJ being taken away. After a stunning visual intro, might I add, we wake up with a bandaged head inside a random room, with our wrists taped to the bed. We take a look around to try and find a way out, with the door locked and bars over the windows. After a good while of searching, we use the chair to climb up and reach a box in the top of the closet, where a small palette knife will do the job for us to crack the door open. I take the chance to take a look around in case there's any more collectibles, and then peering around a corner to another door opening. We quickly hide behind a cabinet as a boy comes around the corner, holding a knife as he heads towards our room. With his back turned, we seem to have the advantage.
Don't move. Stay where you are. Don't turn around. Put down the knife.
How about you do the same?
Fair enough. The shadowed archer tells us that AJ is safe and he'll take us to him as long as we drop our weapon, and so we oblige without much choice as what happens to be another kid steps into the light. The bow-wielding boy introduces himself as Marlon and the other kid as Ten, apparently a shy, quiet kid who happened to be the one who was taking care of us, hence him heading to our room. Anyway, Marlon, who looks remarkably like Henry Bowers from It, apologizes for taping us to the bed as a precaution for us turning as he takes us to AJ, leading us through their base, being introduced to plenty of faces as we speak to Marlon about how we ended up here, from surviving with AJ for all this time and the car crash which we'd recently landed ourselves in. Some of the faces are a little less friendly than the others.
Hi there?
Why are these kids so
What's his
weird?
problem?
And the place we find ourselves in used to be a boarding school for troubled kids, which all the kids here happen to be a part of, and now Marlon is the one who runs the place.
Welcome to Erickson's boarding school for troubled youth. You and your boy, feels like you both fit that description.
After the weird kid called Willie calls Marlon over to the gates to help him with some walkers, he leaves us to head inside to find AJ with Lewis, following the music and coming across a lovely new character in Ruby.
Hey!
Who are you?
About time you woke up!
She looks like a
Your
Cabbage
little boy
Patch Kid.
just bit me!
We apologise for AJ's behaviour and continue onwards, coming across your mother's award collection.
Master of fine ass. Master of big ass. Juris Doctorate of ass.
And finally finding AJ with Lewis. We make sure to tell him off for trying to take a chunk out of Ruby's hand, as Lewis finally stops that abominable piano playing to introduce himself to us. He tells us that our bag is somewhere in here, but after grabbing all our things, he isn't so comfortable with AJ being armed, but it seems his mind is too focused on trying to riz Clem up more than anything else.
Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever.
What the hell is this?
Stop. Now.
Marlon comes in shortly after though, asking for our help with walkers at the gates, with a small hunting group needing to get back inside.
Seems to be a few more than usual these last couple days.
It's almost like something drew their attention. Something like, I don't know, an explosion or a car crash.
Bye.
We introduce ourselves to the girl, or well, Lewis does.
I don't think we've met. I'm Clementine.
Yeah, I know. Your kid won't stop talking about you.
She's gonna be a problem.
Hello, Clementine. I'm Violet. Nice to meet you.
And so being led out by Marlon and Lewis with his makeshift chair leg weapon, which he inventively calls chails. I can't say that without sounding ridiculously posh. We head out for another cool fighting scene, where we get to make use of the stunning mechanic again, as well as the awesome traps they've set up too. But I can't help but feel that was a waste. The new fights were actually challenging in this game, so with a bit of strategy, we clear the way as the hunting group make their way back in, leaving us and Violet to clean up. I feel like she hates us.
You know, you're not half bad considering the circumstances and all.
Never mind. We narrowly help one of the kids and take out another walker before we get our own help arriving too. Yo, there's a dog! Yeah, that'll do the trick. Oh my god. The dog with a bit of a taste for blood is Rosie, Marlon's companion, who is buff, may I say. Finally, we can all head back inside for some food that the hunting group, including Asim and Brody, have brought back for us. After Asim raises concerns about the allocated hunting area being too small, to which Marlon ignores, Lewis commends our fighting performance.
I'd call that a B+ performance there, Vi. You've done better. Now, Clem here. That was a solid A. A+ even.
We actually almost died twice, as we commend Violet's too, and already it looks like we're going to be able to build a pretty strong friend group here. What's
They're
up,
pretty
AJ?
good with the monsters.
Come on, y'all. Food's
AJ!
Nice one, AJ. It turns out that AJ has a bit of a problem with people coming up to him from behind, which explains why he just tried pulverizing Marlon's nuts. With Marlon understandably a little upset about taking a hit like that, we have to teach AJ how to apologize and make things up to people. And AJ, it'd be a plus if you called them the right name too.
I didn't mean to hit him. I didn't know that it was Marvin.
Marlon.
Marvin. With AJ a little apprehensive to approach Marlon straight away, we go around the camp speaking to everyone to try and help AJ make some friends. Checking in on Lewis and Omar, the camp chef, speaking to Asim as he complains about Marlon restricting the hunting zone and writes his daily account in his diary.
The new girl went and helped the hunting party come back. She...
Hey, zip it. That is not yours to read, kid.
We also take the time to speak to Ten and Violet, who are at the camp graveyard, where Ten's sisters, Sophie and Minnie, have their belongings buried, with the two going missing and being presumed dead almost a year ago.
Paying respects.
Should we do that too?
Yeah, I think that'd be a very nice thing to do, AJ. Come on.
Thank you.
Aww, this is sweet. AJ also apologizes to Ruby for biting her after we tell him to just explain himself, and Ruby accepts it incredibly kindly, leaving only Marlon for him to apologize to.
I'm really sorry I hit you. Can we please stay here and eat dinner and not go out into the forest and get killed by monsters?
Hey, don't sweat it, buddy. You can make it up to me by teaching me your technique.
Tired out with all this social interaction, it's time to finally sit down for some dinner. With a lot of names to remember. God damn, AJ, we just sat down. At least Lewis is kind enough to give you the rest of it. AJ, slow down, bro. With dinner over, Lewis gets out a deck of cards, inviting Violet over to play a game as AJ goes over to 10 to make friends. The game Lewis suggests involves each pulling a card, and the person with the highest one wins and gets to ask a question to the person who drew the lowest. Real smooth, Lewis. I see what you're doing here. The questions allow the group to learn about Clem. As we explain how AJ's parents are dead, we criticize Marlon's haircut.
She means it looks like a dead cat. Probably smells like one too.
And Lewis asks the all-important question.
So, ever
Yeah.
have a boyfriend?
Nice one,
my
Lewis.
God.
Smooth.
But it happens. Perfectly valid
Yeah,
question.
very
You
smooth.
can ask me if I've ever had a girlfriend.
We briefly also mention meeting Javi, who is technically a famous person in the apocalypse, before a pretty dark question from Lewis asking if we've ever killed a loved one brings the game to a pretty awkward end.
Lee. His name was Lee. It was the same day I found out my parents were dead.
After Marlon brings us back inside for the night, he tells us that in the morning we can talk about staying in this place long term, which makes AJ happy as ever as we return to our room, where he starts making some drawings from the crayons and paper inside the box we'd found earlier. Not long after, Violet comes in, looking for said art supplies to give to Ten, as he apparently loves drawing pictures too, although she insists that it's okay for AJ to keep hold of them. Violet begins to recollect about Ten's sisters, Sophie and Minnie, who used to share this room, mentioning how the latter of the two was a great singer.
And Minerva. She was really musical.
Minerva?
Not like Lewis, though. She had actual talent.
Violet then tells us that the two went missing while on a supply hunt with Marlon and Brody, but after going outside the boundary they set themselves, they didn't make it back. Violet misses having someone her age and gender to talk to, so is pretty glad we're here now.
I'm not exactly like a people person. I know I sometimes have a habit of being a little bit too harsh.
You come off all right. I thought you were pretty cool.
Oh, thanks, I guess. You were pretty cool too.
I must admit, I found the pacing of this season to be absolutely perfect too. The final season really focused on giving the player a strong chance to make relationships between the other characters, which is ever so important when it's an entirely new group of people. This wasn't done so well in the third season, where every new character was just a quick conversation before moving on, but it's also far more entertaining and meaningful than some of the long dialogues in the second season. It's very reminiscent of the first season in that way. After Violet heads to her room for the night, we pin up AJ's new drawing and convince him to go to sleep in an actual bed, because for some reason he's insistent on sleeping under the bed where it's safer. Yeah, no chance AJ, just go to bed bro. In the morning we head upstairs with AJ to find Marlon's office, to speak to him about making our residence permanent. Inside we find Ten playing with some toy firemen and policemen, which means we have to, of course, explain what they are to AJ, as he never experienced pre-apocalypse life, which can become pretty annoyingly obvious. After finishing our chapter in Parenting Simulator,
No, he's mine now.
Hey, give it back.
No.
You don't even know what they
AJ.
are.
Okay, that's enough, you two.
we have to wait for Marlon to show up, coming across a photo that shows him and Lewis were friends from the very start, although our snooping comes at a cost when Rosie decides to make an appearance. The trauma from Clem's last experience with a dog makes her back up, but fortunately Marlon appears just in time, trying to show us that we have nothing to be scared of.
She just needs to get to
She's
know you is all.
harmless. It's like those things where it's like, my pit bull donut couldn't hurt a fly.
Guess.
As it mauls a toddler. After making a new canine friend, Marlon tells us the backstory of the place, mentioning that Rosie was the old headmaster's dog who ended up leaving all the kids to fend for themselves when the apocalypse began, hence the appreciative graffiti. Marlon confirms his wishes for us to stay here before showing us the map of the nearby area, detailing all the points of interest, including their safe zone. I wonder if the river is a good place to go. We basically learn that nowhere is safe around the school, with the hunting grounds and an old shack being the only places they ever go, as Marlon is insistent that is the reason they've gone unnoticed by any hostile groups for so long.
So everything inside is the safe zone. It's been getting smaller over the years, and food's become more scarce.
So, why not go outside it?
We can't. Whenever someone goes outside the safe zone, bad shit happens. People die or disappear.
However, we're hit with a bit of a conundrum, since rinsing the same areas constantly has meant every day the school is getting less and less food, so he tasks us to help him with keeping everyone alive.
Everyone's counting on me to step up. Be the leader they need me to be. You and AJ are 2 more mouths to feed. Maybe you can help me feed the rest.
With Sim and Lewis heading to hunt in the forest, and Violet and Brody out fishing, we get to decide which we'd like to do. Fishing sounds easier, so let's go hunt.
Go do some hunting.
Yeah.
Oh wait, am I bringing AJ?
Take this.
Oh,
I don't want you getting...
AJ's gonna be annoying to look
Please.
after. I completely forgot that AJ would be tagging along, so kinda regretted picking probably the more difficult option, but away we went, heading into the woods with Sim and Lewis. Lewis is clearly doing his best to impress Clem still, as Sim tells us to watch out for any traps on the ground.
Please, I think I can handle myself. I'm basically a ninja.
Is he always like this?
Like this? You mean awesome?
I don't think we've ever met someone as talkative as Lewis in the apocalypse. This guy is genuinely loving life every day, even with a bunch of zombies hanging about. Speaking of, we come across one stuck in a trap, which Lewis finds great pleasure in messing about with.
Ah! Hey, check this guy out. He's like a walker pinata.
We still have a job to do though, so as Sim continues on to find some food, we get left to choose who we want to hang out with. Help Lewis do what? Help Lewis do what exactly? We choose to go along with Sim to help him hunt, although I'm sure Lewis would rather have flirted with Clem some more, but I decide to leave him to babysit AJ. As Sim rustles the bushes, we manage to take out all the possible rabbits, and after letting a baby rabbit free after being caught in a trap, Sim heads back, but tells us to go and meet Violet and Brody up by the shack to see if they caught any fish, which AJ is ecstatic about.
I like fish.
That's great. See ya.
Eventually we make it to the shack, but Violet and Brody are nowhere to be seen, and a walker with a spear in its cranium suggests they may have had visitors, and a door with a busted lock and smeared in ketchup adds to our worries. As we step in, the place has been completely ransacked, with all of the group's supplies being taken, and clearly not too long ago, with a fresh fire burning out next to a cigarette made with Bible pages. Very shortly after, Violet and Brody make their appearance, mentioning how all the fish in the traps had been taken too. Brody starts having a panic attack when realizing that everything's been robbed.
It's just, fuck, it's okay. It's, breathe, Brody, come on. Come on. Take a second. Breathe in deep and hold it. Just shut the fuck up, okay?
Alright, chill, Brody. And she immediately wants to go back to tell Marlon about what's happened. But with no fish, we are looking seriously low on food.
So what do we do?
See ya.
Rocks?
You can't eat rocks.
I'm aware.
The only real option we have is going to be the train station that we'd visited with AJ before. And despite being out of the safe zone, we really don't have much choice. Although, didn't it like kind of get blown up by, you know, a grenade? Anyway, we finally make it to the station where it is surrounded by walkers. But we figure out that someone could climb on top of the train car and start ringing the bell to make a distraction, whilst the rest of us sneak inside and grab the remaining food. But if only we had a volunteer.
Lewis. I vote Lewis.
After Lewis gives me a compliment.
I can't say no to a face like that.
Oh, thank you, Lewis. You got me blushing and kicking my feet behind the screen right now.
Stop! You're making me blush!
He starts causing a ruckus, allowing us to slowly move forwards while taking out stragglers. I've got to admit, I think the characters in this season were by far my favourite. Lewis, for one, is absolutely hilarious.
Alright, someone get this on. Ready? Nobody?
We make our way inside alongside AJ while Violet waits outside, and we send AJ under the trap door to see if any food survived, and somehow he comes out with a bunch of food. But of course, it's never going to be that easy. Something's gonna happen.
Stand.
Oh,
Slowly.
God, yeah.
Don't yell. Don't try anything. I won't hurt you.
The man comes in to try and take some food with him while asking if we have a group, considering that we're supposedly too young to be out on our own. And his vibes are very uneasy, especially since he too dodges the same question.
It's just me and my ugly face out here.
Yeah, you're right on the ugly.
And hungry.
Now, I don't exactly mind if this guy just takes one bag and goes, but our case isn't helped when AJ appears from under the floor to pull his gun on the man to stop him from taking any food. And once the man switches his attention to AJ, I reluctantly make the choice to send the guy packing through the window and into the crowd of zombies. I know it's not right to judge a book by its cover, but I'd get better vibes from a broken Rose toy than this man. With the attacker down, we rush to get the remaining food into our bags and make our escape, finally returning to the school where everyone is overjoyed with our haul.
Can't believe this. Look at it.
You're our savior, Clem.
Thanks, weirdo. Even after bringing all these goodies back though, not everyone can be happy. With Brody annoyed, we left the safe zone, and becoming visibly paranoid when we tell her about the man that we saw, with her suggesting that he will absolutely try and find us for revenge. Listen, I highly doubt he made it out of there alive. We literally watched him get devoured right in front of our eyes. Marlon comes over to try and defuse the situation, telling Brody to stop overreacting about a single guy out in the wild, but she shoves him away and storms off, leaving Marlon to go after her as we sit down for dinner. We get to have a conversation with Ten, who tells us about how he likes to draw the people he loses in a happy place once they've passed. But the way he starts talking about that place being better than living in this school, and including the walkers in the happy place too, I'm starting to get the feeling we may have a bit of a lunatic on our hands.
Sometimes I draw the walkers the way they probably looked. Sometimes I draw Minnie and Sophie the way they probably left them. But sometimes I draw this too.
Kinda weird,
Can
Ten.
I be there?
We choose not to be a part of Ten's drawing to his disappointment, heading back inside to get some sleep. But all of a sudden, we're awoken by distant muffled yelling, with it sounding like someone's in danger. We make sure AJ is armed before leaving him to guard the room, and I'm starting to get more and more concerned that the guy we pushed into the walkers had somehow made it out, and is here to get that revenge. I mean, hell, I was even starting to see things. So that said Benson Boone for a moment. We find the source of the noise coming from the school basement, but with the door locked, we need to find another way in, finding a door to the basement out in the courtyard. Who is that? Who is that? Our chances of being able to sneak in has been reduced marginally after smashing open the lock to the doors with a huge rock. But we managed to get the doors open and make our way in, discovering Marlon and Brody being the two causing a commotion, with the pair continuing their argument from earlier. Marlon tells us to just head back up to bed, although with the level of hostility in their conversation, I don't exactly want to leave without answers. So even though Marlon insists we just leave, Brody confirms they know who the man was at the station, and it's possibly about as bad as it could get. Yeah, go on.
Marlon let him take the twins. Him and his people.
Oh.
10 sisters. I thought they were killed by walkers.
That's the story we told everyone.
Shut up!
Because Marlon was so ashamed of what...
Jesus Christ.
What'd you say?
Oh my god, this scene was genuinely kind of disturbing, with Marlon rushing around for a first aid kit and Brody sat helpless after being struck so hard, losing her memory in an instant. Despite this, she's able to tell us one thing, that us and AJ are in danger. Marlon is a scared kid who, when scared, becomes angry and will do anything to keep himself safe.
If those raiders come back, Marlon said he'd let him take you.
Take us?
To make him go away. Like he did. Like he did with 10 sisters.
After Brody succumbs to the blunt force injury, Marlon rushes out of the basement to trap us in hope that Brody turns and takes us out too, so that no one else learns about his secrets. Our case isn't then helped by the fact that Brody has already turned, and we get an incredibly spooky scene where we need to try and find a way out with a zombified Brody on our tails, whilst creeping about with a flickering flashlight. Oh my god, why has this turned into a horror game? Get the basketball. Maybe if we pass her the ball, she'll just start throwing 3-pointers instead of trying to eat us. We managed to trap Brody with a fallen cabinet and lift the outer latch with a ruler that we'd found. But don't make it out that easily. Being dragged back inside by Brody, we inevitably have to brutally take out, with some great attention to detail, with the light gradually turning red as more blood covers it. Well, we have some news to share with the others, making a way out to find everyone outside, watching on as AJ points his gun towards Marlon, who begins fabricating his excuses.
She's in the basement. She murdered Brody.
This scene is absolutely cinematic, with the thunder clashing and rain pouring down, reminiscent of the St. John family in season 1. As we make our way out, we tell them all that Marlon's lying and sharing how he was the one who killed Brody, and I think any ounce of belief that the others had in his story is gone once he throws AJ to the ground and steals his gun, allowing us to spill more of the truth.
You shoot me, and what do you offer up to your raider friends when they come knocking?
What the hell is she talking about?
Won't do it, because he needs us alive.
Shut up!
Brody told me Marlon was gonna give me and AJ up to raiders in exchange for safety. The same way he gave up Sophie and Minnie.
Marlon is becoming incredibly desperate, trying to appeal to everyone about how he's helped them before, and leaning on the hope that since they've known him longer, that they'll all believe him instead of us. But after appealing to Violet and showing everyone how crazy Marlon has become in his fear, everyone steps forward to try and disarm the situation, and Marlon's eyes just become increasingly empty, especially after 10 steps forward, pleading with Marlon to explain why he'd do such a thing as to trade his sisters away for safety. Marlon is simply too afraid, and his inability to control it has made him a danger to everybody around him. So as he starts breaking down, we choose to gently try and help him.
I know I betrayed you. All of you. Just let me leave. You'll never have to see me again. Just let me become a bad memory.
Fine.
Oh my god! AJ! Well, that was a long first chapter, but one filled with absolute cinema, and the post-chapter roundup showing how every character feels towards us makes our choices that much more important than in the previous games. We wake up the morning after AJ murdered Marlon with him handing us a cup of coffee and questioning if he's a murderer like he overheard Lewis say. Turns out AJ killed Marlon because, just like we told him before, he should always kill monsters by shooting them in the head. Well, at least no one can say our choices didn't mean anything in this game. We tell him that Lewis is right, and when someone is no longer a threat, you shouldn't have to kill them. Our flashback shows how Violet chose to defend us when the group, specifically Lewis and Mitch, show their quite understandable anger towards Clem and AJ. We tell AJ that he needs to atone for what he did, and that we will do our best to help him, which is when 10 comes in to invite us along to Marlon and Brody's funeral. I can't imagine the atmosphere will be far from tense at that one. 10 does his best to make AJ feel better, offering him a firefighter toy to show how brave he was to stand up for himself against Marlon. And he agrees to play with AJ after the funeral, and so we attend shortly after, with Marlon and Brody already being buried and all the kids watching on as flowers get placed on their graves. And poor Rosie cries at the sides of her dead owner. Everyone seems to be quite rightly pissed off at the sides of us at the funeral, most notably Lewis and Mitch, but after Violet tells them to just chill out, we watch on as 10 lays a drawing of the beach on Brody's grave, and Violet gives a talk about Marlon.
Marlon was... I can't. Not for Marlon. After what he did to the twins and Brody, someone else do it.
Bitch. Dude, don't.
Mitch is absolutely furious about the way everyone's treating Marlon's death, refusing to listen to a word that Violet, Lewis and Clem and AJ have to say, despite AJ doing his best to explain himself and get forgiveness.
But I'm gonna,
Atone. Yeah, atone it.
Fuck, I can't listen to this.
Instead, Mitch insists our place in the group is put to a vote, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good numbers-wise. I think it's pretty likely we get kicked out, even with AJ doing his best to plead with the group. It's definitely a difficult situation, and no, Marlon didn't necessarily deserve to be killed, and it's the pure rashness of AJ to murder him like he did being the reason we get kicked out. But Marlon is far from innocent, and like Violet insists, if they'd have known what he did to Sophie and Minnie earlier, it's likely he would have gone in one way or another months ago. So we get sent inside by Violet to await the group's decision. We have a talk with AJ about what might happen to us next after he questions why we'd tell him to try and atone for his actions if it didn't work. And understandably, after being raised in a traumatic apocalyptic environment, he seems to really struggle with comprehending and understanding not only others, but his own emotions. Anyway, Violet and Lewis come in shortly after to break the bad news that we've been voted out of the community.
We took the vote. You have to leave.
Don't we get to vote? I vote that we stay.
Shut up, AJ.
That's not how it works.
Violet and Lewis are still in disagreement about us being removed, and Violet even finds it shocking that we aren't going to fight the decision at all, since she believes that Marlon was the one in the wrong. At the end of the day, I knew we were going to be voted out, and what Lewis is saying is totally logical.
Oh, I'm burying my head in the sand? Hate Marlon all you want, but you can't tell me AJ isn't dangerous too.
Before we leave, AJ asks to go and find Ten to say goodbye to his friend, but since he wanted us to stay, he's ran off and is not talking to anyone. So it looks like we'll just be escorted out by Lewis and Violet to make sure we make it safely to the road, but only after taking AJ's gun from us to be sure he doesn't try anything on the way out. Once we make it to the road, we thank Violet for trying to keep us in the group, and although holding firm on his decision, and especially since the rest of the group seem to think we're worse than Marlon, Lewis still seems to have some doubt in letting us go, returning AJ's gun as to not leave us unarmed in the woods. Well, just like how they'd been for years, Clem and AJ are back on the road, and it's straight back to AJ questioning absolutely everything.
How? Clem, will we be okay? How do you know?
They've nailed AJ's character perfectly, in my opinion. It's so common for a kid to want to ask why and how for every single thing they learn, and even more so for a kid that's growing in such a unique world. It's annoying that we have to explain everything to AJ, but it makes total sense. We tell AJ that we'll be okay back on the road. Do you think we could do... Oh my god! Oh, well, that lasted long. A gunshot from nearby sends us hiding behind the trees, and somehow it's the guy from the train station, clearly only getting bitten in one arm and taking it off before the infection spread. We tell AJ to stay back as the man gets closer and jump the guy, disarming his gun and sending him to the floor, but after choosing to tell him to just leave and he won't get hurt, the tables are immediately turned as a rifle gets pointed to the back of our head, and we end up on the floor with a foot to our neck, and AJ jumping out ends up with him in the same situation. The man, called Abel, obviously recognizes us and tells the woman with the rifle that she'll like us, as we're apparently good fighters. The woman says she's looking for a kid who runs a nearby school, and we tell her that, well, he's dead. But she still insists that we take her there unless we want Abel to kill AJ. But all of a sudden, the mood changes drastically as the woman kicks us over to reveal who she is. Wait, Lily?
Clementine, it's you?
That's right, Lily from season 1. The one who at least I ended up kicking from the group after she shot Carly in cold blood is back, and clearly she hasn't redeemed herself much since then. We refuse her hand in helping us back up as she begins talking to us about Lee, recognizing that he's dead, effectively blaming us for the fact that he died as early as he did, saying that the same will happen to us if we keep looking after AJ. At some point, looking after someone else will get us killed. So with that, Lily makes an offer to bring us and AJ into their walled community with solar power and lots of food in return for us taking them to the school to bring all the kids there back with us too. Fortunately for us, Violet and Lewis ended up hanging around to spot Lily and the touchy-feely Abel. Seriously, he's got some weird obsession with hurting AJ. It's quite concerning. Either way, we get left with a decision to tell Violet and Lewis to run away rather than taking a shot, which gives enough of a distraction for Abel to throw AJ to the ground and for us to kick Lily down too. The two freaks decide to give chase, with Abel and Lily freely firing shots towards us and AJ. Are you serious? Alright. Next chance we get, we're taking this guy out. But after finally managing to maneuver our way past the OAPs and coming across a group of walkers, we're able to seemingly lose Abel and Lily. But all is not well, as it seems one of Abel's long-range shotgun shots caught AJ right in the stomach, leaving him to hide behind a tree as we get to take down more walkers.
No.
I knew it.
Too loud.
Holy shit. It seems like another kid is out here to help us, this time wearing a walker's face to blend in, luring the other zombies away to get us to safety. The masked kid, why is that so hard to say? The kid in the mask takes us to a safer spot in the woods, where we lay AJ down and one by one remove the bits of shrapnel from his gunshot wound. And luckily, they didn't seem to go very deep. And after the kid puts duct tape on AJ, whatever works I guess, we bring him over to the fire where the kid tells us more about himself. It turns out that, as you'd have guessed if you've seen the show, this guy was a part of a group called the Whisperers, who all wear the masks and move freely within herds of zombies, with the ability to move groups of walkers with ease, which is exactly what happened here. However, since seeing the Whisperers attack innocent communities, he left them. We ask for his name. That's what the mask is. Oh my god.
James.
Bro looks normal. And James goes on to tell us that Lily's group are at war, and seemingly have been for a while, which explains why they want the kids from the school so badly as to train them as soldiers to fight for them, which is exactly why he stopped them from taking us. We learn that James here is someone who does his best to be a pacifist, not only to humans, but as we find when he stops us from killing a walker, for the undead too. But we can't sit around and make friends for too long, as it seems a return to the school might be on the cards, with AJ seemingly developing a fever which will need medicine to treat urgently. We skip forwards into the second act, where Lewis is carrying AJ inside to see Ruby, who's put in charge of looking after him, and we tell him to push through his fear as we go ahead with Violet to speak in the office.
What happened out in the woods? I saw they had you pinned and Shit, I got so crazy. I really thought you were dead, Clem.
We tell Violet how glad we are to see her again before explaining who Lily is, mentioning how she used to be a part of our early group before being expelled after killing Carly. Although she brings up concerns about supposedly bringing James with us to the gates, and although she trusts us after mentioning that he lives alone, the others in the group are still very wary.
I'm just worried about the others and what they might do. They didn't even get a chance to mourn Brody and Marlon before these child-snatching assholes showed up.
We tell Violet about what's likely to come, with Abel and Lily almost certainly going to return to take over the school, and take all the kids with them to turn into soldiers, just like what happened with Sophie and Minnie. Anyway, to prevent ourselves from being kidnapped, we make a plan to turn the school into a fortress, in order to defend the place with ease, setting up Home Alone-style traps outside, and arming the walls with barbed wire, which we'll need to get from the greenhouse nearby, which has apparently been overrun not too long ago. Before we can make our way there though, Mitch decides to come in to rip into Violet for letting us back in, and accusing us of being a part of Lily and Abel's group, since apparently everything had gone wrong since we arrived. See Mitch, I don't remember trading away 2 children just for our safety. I think he got the wrong idea of us. Ruby breaks attention temporarily by coming in, and Mitch continues to bicker when Violet orders him to help us explore the greenhouse, since she's now basically stepped up to be the leader of the group. We get a short little scene before heading to the greenhouse, where Lewis is watching over AJ sleeping, and it makes me realise that perhaps he's regretting making us leave the group. Anyway, we quickly make it to the greenhouse just outside the school gates, and sorry, they said this was overrun? There's less zombies here than brain cells in Mitch's skull. Anyway, with the door locked, we need to find a new way in.
I can't see shit.
Well, there's too much condensation on the inside.
Condensation? That's a big word for you.
Shut up.
We reluctantly speak to Mitch, who says that we're only here because they're desperate for help.
If we survive these raiders, you and I are gonna have words.
No!
Let's survive first.
Oh! I'm low-key gonna make sure you don't survive the raiders, Mitch. Before spotting a ladder that could be climbed to open the door from the inside. Mitch volunteers us to be the one to do it, since he wants to risk the person they don't mind losing, which we accept because unlike him, we aren't a massive pussy.
Holler if one grabs you. Otherwise we'll come as soon as you give the all clear.
I guess we'll know when the door opens.
Yeah, thanks Mitch. We'll know she's opened the door when the door opens. The place definitely doesn't seem overrun or overgrown from the inside either, so after easily dispatching a few walkers, we let Ruby and Mitch in, getting to work with finding anything useful while Ruby admires the plants. We don't exactly find anything entirely useful before eventually coming across the barbed wire in a locker, alongside fertilizer which Mitch apparently thinks he can make bombs out of. Apparently the reason he ended up at a school for troubled youths was his childhood explosion hobby, and apparently all we need is some propane and something to create a spark. And so after uncovering a science lab between the greenhouse, which doesn't make much sense, does it? And getting a little scare from an overgrown zombie, which Ruby recognizes as the school nurse.
Miss Martin, our nurse at the school.
She's kind of bad though.
She stayed.
when all the others left.
We console her before putting the zombie down, coming across an igniter and a full propane tank with Mitch's help. Before heading back, we agree to bury the dead nurse out of respect for Ruby and head into our room for the night, in preparation to set up defenses. Before we sleep, Lewis comes into our room to bring us some spare clothes for AJ since his current shirt got a little messed up from the gunshot, and he tells us that it seems that the rest of the group are warming up to the idea of us staying again, although he still has his reluctance, seeing as it was his best friend of many years who was killed. AJ wakes up from his sleep and seems a lot better already, even with Lewis brushing off his question about if they could be friends again.
Friends again.
Just get some sleep, okay?
We tell Lewis we missed him while we were gone.
I really missed you.
Missed you too.
And it seems that AJ is becoming more understanding about why Lewis wanted us gone. And so after dripping AJ out in some new clothes, we head to sleep, and 2 weeks later, it seems the school has been completely set up with defenses without any attacks. And after going to sleep again, we wake up to a baby crying. It's clear that we're in some sort of acid trip of a nightmare, with Clem stepping out of the room to see a horse walking down the corridors. We follow it to find a glowing red door with the same horse for some reason now dying on the ground. The cries of a baby continue with ash falling from the sky, and as we go to open the door leading to a red abyss, we wake back up. We wake up to AJ looking out the window, recognizing we were having a nightmare that was related to the time we found him again at the ranch following the 3rd season, which will get explained more later. AJ tells us that he's been having nightmares too, and feels safer being awake with his freshly constructed shiv that he's been working on. It seems like paranoia is spreading about the group in anticipation for an attack from Lily's group, but after convincing him to go to sleep by letting him join us in bed, we head back to sleep and get a better look at all the defenses the morning after, the place being basically ready for anything that comes our way. But all the waiting is making people restless, especially Lewis, so Violet asks us to go and check around to make sure everyone's okay, including petting Rosie and ignoring the dumbest choice ever given to us. Spit on Marlon's grave? Hell no. Why would we do that? We check in on Mitch and his bomb constructing, which doesn't quite seem to be working yet, but at least he seems to be becoming less hostile towards us. We make sure AJ and Ten are all good on watch out, and then check in on Lewis, who's doing target practice. Lewis is clearly annoyed with himself for letting Marlon get to the state of stress and pressure that he did, sitting around and being the group joker while his best friend carried the heavy burden of leadership, yet he now feels regret for taking out on us and AJ for his death. Marlon didn't necessarily deserve it, but it was always gonna happen, regardless of if it was AJ or someone else.
And then when you tried to tell us what he was really like, and AJ shot him, I blamed you. Both of you.
After we forgive him, he lets us have a go with the bow and arrow practice.
Damn.
Let's go.
Remind me to never piss you off while I'm standing at a moderate distance with a big red circle painted on it.
Shut up. It seems that everyone is ready to take on the raiders, but after checking back in with Violet, we get interrupted by Asim and Willie having an argument about what kind of traps to set up, and after picking Asim's bag of bricks over Willie's swinging log, he punches Asim right in the brick bag, and it's clear we need something to break the tension, so Lewis decides a game is the best way to do so, playing Truth or Dare as AJ and Ten come along to join.
Everyone draws. Highest card gets to ask, lowest card has to answer.
Violet draws the highest card, and we draw the lowest, so get asked the first truth.
Marry, fuck, kill.
Ayo!
Fine. Marry, flip, kill.
We choose to marry Ruby.
Watch out, Asim. She's totally gonna swoop in and ruin your dream.
Flip Asim? I'm not gonna say kill Asim. And the next round, we get to dare Asim to ask Ruby for a kiss. And then Asim gets to ask Ten what is something he has never told anyone because he's scared it'll be embarrassing.
I think walkers won't always be around. They'll go away someday, because the world goes in cycles, right? This age will end, and another one will start.
An age without walkers, like it used to be.
It'll be better.
We tell Ten that it's actually a very hopeful way of looking at things, and the game ends pretty nicely, with Asim and Willie agreeing to work together on the traps, and with us getting left with the decision to go and hang out with Violet on the bell tower, or helping Lewis with his piano project that he's been working on. Now, I'm sure there's a possibility of some sort of romance to begin if we pick Lewis, but I'm really liking Clem and Violet's friendship so far, so we head off to see what she's up to. The plan is to check out the school walls from the top of the tower, and apparently the only way up is to climb the side of this thing like some fucked up Super Meat Boy level. Jesus. Kinda wish I'd picked to go play the piano now. Oh. After finally making it to the top, we get a stunning view of the place. This scene is genuinely very wholesome, making up constellations together and trying to assign personalities to them.
Bright, pretty, good with other people, always moving, tons of energy. Sounds like anyone we know?
Yeah, it sounds like you.
Weren't you listening? I said good with other people.
This friendship seems so important for both Clem and Violet, with Clem being stuck either on her own or with just AJ for so long in this apocalypse. I actually can't remember the last time she had a friend her own age to hang out with, and for Violet, ever since losing Sophie and Minnie, she had seemingly become a lot more shut off and independent. Their personalities are pretty similar, and it seems to have let them feel far more comfortable while playing this game.
We're friends. Good ones.
It's good to have a friend again. Someone I can really trust. So do we gotta, like, make friendship bracelets or something?
It's time for the hangout to end though, and we get up on watch with AJ, as he tells us his fears of Abel since his nightmares have been about him in particular. So after he does his best to get this video demonetized...
I f***ing really hate that dickhead.
Whoa, that's a little much, don't you think?
Well, I do.
We tell him that we know he can overcome his fear of Abel, but he goes a little far by suggesting that he wants to be the one to kill him. We tell him to never think like that, and that killing should never be that easy, but he doesn't seem too happy about us telling him what to do. But his sulking will have to wait, as it seems as though our enemies have finally shown up, and so we all group up and give our final words of wisdom before our big fight.
No matter what happens...
Oh god. Omar takes a bullet right to the knee, as we manage to drag him behind the boards to keep him safe for now, but these raiders aren't going easy, sending Molotovs flying over and demanding that we come out now. We manage to quickly make a dash for our bow before flipping a table and taking cover, not until Lily and the group break open the gates and storm in. Whilst everyone remains in hiding, we make our whereabouts known, refusing to hand over any of the kids.
Where's our new recruits?
They're not yours!
Search the yard. If Clementine moves, shoot her.
Lily tells us that if we aren't willing to hand over anyone, she'll find a way herself, which is when she starts doing her best to manipulate the kids into showing themselves, starting off by mentioning that Minnie is alive and wanted to come to see Violet, who was apparently her girlfriend, Lewis, who constantly made her laugh, and of course to see her little brother 10.
And her little brother. She missed him the most.
10, stay back. 10. Oh my god. Annoyingly, 10 steps out to ask Lily where his sisters are, which allows Lily to take him as a hostage, but not for long as Mitch sets off his bomb to send Lily tumbling to the ground, and just like that, all hell breaks loose, with us narrowly missing an arrow on Lily, and us also narrowly dodging a bullet to the head, which causes Mitch to attack. No!
God damn it!
Mitch!
Mitch?
Jesus Christ.
Kill who you have to. Take the rest.
I've seen enough to know now that none of these people deserve a second chance, and to take out any and all of these raiders. Lily was, and is still, even more evil. We bring one of the raiders to the ground with an arrow to the knee, before retreating inside, where we set off one of the brick traps and absolutely obliterate the big guy before sending a couch down the stairs to pin another raider to the wall. With the raiders starting to lose, Abel decides to pull all the straws out, launching a Molotov up the stairs and forcing us and AJ into the office. But before we can get the door shut, Abel makes his way in, taking a slice to the hand as he tries to get his grasp on us. Unfortunately, we get distracted by AJ struggling with his bullet wound pain, and Abel knocks us down and pins us against the desk. But we don't stop, and he takes a lighthouse ornament right in the eye before AJ lands a sweet fire poker blow to his foot, allowing us to finally send him flying through the balcony door, taking an uppercut, but as he goes toppling over, Clem gets dragged down right with him. But luckily for us, Abel broke our landing, and he also broke something else too. Lily comes over and aims her rifle right between our eyes, but fortunately she isn't as strong as she thought, and to her own disappointment, she can't bring herself to kill Clem, as we used to be family. And you remember what she thinks about family. With her battling against her instincts, it gives Lewis the chance to come flying out of nowhere to tackle Lily down, and as we kick Abel off of us again, Rosie comes leaping in to take a chunk out of his arm. But all isn't done yet, as Lewis starts being dragged away, and we're separated from Violet by a line of flames and a raider wrestling with her, leaving us to make a near impossible choice between saving our two closest friends, inevitably choosing to land an arrow in Violet's attacker as Lewis is taken out and carried away in a crate, with Amar and Asim too, as we take out the remaining walkers and Lily and the other raiders make their escape. Ten can't help but feel he's to blame for trusting Lily about his sisters, which he kind of is, sorry Ten, as Ruby and Willie mourn Mitch's death. I can't help but feel I could have handled that fight better, but luckily for us, if we want to go and get revenge, we have a pretty handy way of getting information. Our third chapter begins in the wreckage of the fight with the raiders. Willie still mourning over the death of his best friend in Mitch.
At the start, I was so little, and Mitch looked after me. People said he was a dick sometimes, but he was always nice to me.
And we reassure Willie that we will do our best to get vengeance for Mitch, as there's nothing else he'd want more than to get revenge against the people who hurt his friends. So before we can get our friends back, we need to head to the basement where Abel is being held, to get some answers about where his group are held up. However, before we can make it there, Ten offers to help Willie bury Mitch, but instead gets shoved to the ground as Willie accuses Ten of being the reason he's dead. It's a tough one, and perhaps Ten coming out made Mitch and Willie's hiding spot vulnerable, but Mitch did charge at Lily when perhaps he could have kept moving. It's not an easy one to decipher, but as Violet takes care of the situation, we make our way to the basement.
Don't be afraid to, hurt him a little.
Oh,
Maybe you'll get more out of him
don't
than you
worry, we will. As if we're able to get him away. Hopefully he'll tell us the truth and not tell us a fable. You think if he watches TV, he watches it on cable? Do you think he tends to eat his dinner on his couch or at the table? Before I go into this scene, I thought I should mention that this is where a company called Skybound came in to finish off the game. It'd gotten to a point where Telltale Games had come to an end, leaving an unfinished final season of the Walking Dead game in its hands. The game was actually originally planned to be left unfinished after the second chapter, although Skybound came to step up to finish the season, which was done perfectly, by bringing in some old Telltale employees who knew the game well, rather than risking what could have been two completely different halves of a season. Anyway, a slap is enough to wake the old bat from his sleep.
It ain't no way to wake an old man up from his afternoon nap.
Shut up.
I was having a nice dream, too. About a girl I used to know from before.
Pervert. And AJ hands Abel some water as we tell him it's time to talk. Abel is already being very difficult, telling us to give him the 5-star treatment as he believes Lily will be coming right back for him. And although we have to be careful with what we do considering AJ's watching, we slam Abel's head into the chair to snap him out of this fantasy land where he's the winner and bring him back to reality. He tells us that we'll never get our friends back, considering they've basically lost their firepower by trading Abel and Jonathan, the guy who got killed by a bag of bricks, in trade for 3 kids. We give his head a little tap after he calls us easy pickings, and Abel finally agrees to actually talk if we light one of his Bible page cigarettes, allowing him a smoke which may have turned out to be a bad call, as the lollipop covered in carpet fluff starts gurgling and coughing up a lot of blood. Jesus Christ. Are you serious? It turns out we did more damage than a broken leg when we set Abel tumbling off the balcony.
When you pushed me off that balcony, something must have burst inside of me.
Will he turn?
No! My whole life, everything I ever got, I got with my own 2 hands and my will. For my body to turn on me, to take control. I'll tell you where to find Lily. Just promise. You won't let me turn.
We promise to stop Abel from turning when he inevitably succumbs to his injuries.
I'm gonna let him turn.
With me, I'll put you out of your misery.
I won't.
And he spills the beans that the raiders have a nearby boat docked on the river where Lewis, Asim and Omar are going to be held. And after he tells us that important information, we make sure to not stick to our promise whatsoever, as Abel reanimates almost instantly, leaving the sorry excuse of a man to become his worst nightmare. It seems like that same day we've made the couple-mile journey to check out the boat with Willie, Violet and AJ, and this thing is way bigger than I expected. Willie notices a bunch of building material on some rafts which could be cut loose to make a distraction, included with their torches which could also lure some raiders away by setting some of their things on fire. It also turns out that Abel happened to be telling the truth, with us spotting Louis being ordered around at the top of the ship. Even with all the cover on the pier though, the path leading up to the boat is pretty cleared out. But there's the potential that James could be willing to help us by luring some walkers over too. Finally, with checking on AJ, we figure out that we could potentially cut the horses free to stop anyone chasing us on horseback. So it looks like we have the basis to cook up a perfect plan, heading back to finalize the details. But on the way, it seems we have a bit of a roadblock, with what seems to be another raider out in the woods. We tell the others to stay hidden, sneaking up behind the woman in an effort to get some answers about our stolen friends.
Drop it. The kids your people stole. Have they been hurt? I don't know what you're... I'm not fucking around. Answer the question.
Clementine, wait.
Why would you say my name?
It's Minnie.
Oh, Minnie had been alive the entire year that the group had thought she was dead, and her and Violet share a hug before Willie tells her about the kids who haven't made it, and she makes sure her little brother 10 is still holding up okay. The reunion seems to be a friendly one until Minnie turns her attention to Clem, furious that she wouldn't just hand the kids over and instead decided to fight Lily, indirectly causing the death of others.
The hell he gave you and Sophie away.
Yeah, and we all survived it. Marlon would have never made them fight the way you did. He wouldn't have gotten people killed. That's really close to the speech Lily gave me in the woods. It's the truth.
It seems clear that Minnie has been completely and utterly brainwashed, declaring the death of her sister Sophie to be heroic in protecting Lily's group. She already thinks of Clem as a bad leader for the school kids because Marlon would have stopped their deaths by just handing the kids over, just like he did with Sophie and her. If that was so true, Sophie would still be alive, wouldn't she? Anyway, our now awkward reunion is cut short by Lily calling out for Minnie, telling her to get back to their ship. Fortunately for us, Minnie decides not to blow our cover, instead telling us that when the group return to take us in, to just let it happen, to prevent any more of us dying. Well, I can't imagine that's how Violet expected it to go, seeing Minnie again. And after that, she doesn't want the plan to change. We're still getting on that boat and getting our friends back. So with that, we tell Violet and Willie to head back to the school and get everyone prepared, whilst us and AJ go out to find James. On the way there, we take a break with AJ's stomach still in pain, and he tells us that he struggled to not let out his anger against Willie when he ripped into 10 for coming out of cover, but also feels angry at 10 for doing so.
I like 10 the most, I think. Even if he does dumb things. Actually, I think he's my first real friend.
Well, you do dumb things too, AJ.
I thought I was your first real friend.
Well, yeah, but you don't count. You're old.
As we arrive at James's camp, it looks like there's only walkers around, but James sneaks up from behind us to mention that the raiders attacked his small camp. He agrees to help us in directing walkers to their boat, but he of course needs his mask, which happens to be left in his camp. And there's what, 4 walkers? That's a piece of cake.
Please, I just ask that you don't kill them. The walkers.
Come on.
If you distract them, I can sneak over and find my mask.
So, as to not adjourn from James's request, we do our best to stun and evade the walkers, requiring us to push the raiders' cart to draw them further away, and James appreciates us for not killing the walkers. We tell him of our plan, and although he finds it somewhat ridiculous, he doesn't seem totally against it, but tells us to follow him so that he can show us something as to understand the extent of our request. We arrive at an old barn, where we get a little flashback to the dairy farm from season 1.
Clem, what's this?
It's called a salt lick.
Salt lick? Ugh, sounds gross.
Leave it alone, okay?
Why? Is something wrong with it?
Just bad memories, kiddo.
And we head over to see what James wanted to show us, and it's clear we don't exactly see eye to eye as he shows us his collection. He's just got a bunch of Pokemon cards back here. Close. James believes that a part of our souls is still in the walkers, believing it's some sort of middle ground between life and death, where the people are just lost.
Do you really think there's people inside of monsters?
Somewhere. Yes, when they're alone. They're harmless. Innocent, if you want my help. I need you to try and walk with them.
We agreed to just give it a try, as to keep James on our side and helping us, although I don't agree with James whatsoever. He suggests that the walkers, when alone, are innocent beings that do no harm, but that's purely because their brain drives purely on an instinct to just eat. If there's nothing to eat, they'll do nothing but walk or wait. It's like saying a lion couldn't hurt a fly just because it's been put in a padded room without any food. Once exposed, it will hunt and kill. James tasks us with putting the mask on and reaching the wind chime inside. We slowly make our way through the small group and touch the wind chimes, which brings all the walkers over for some odd scenic moment where they all stare up at the instrument, which to me proved nothing. They just get drawn to sound, man. Just because a wind chime is more elegant than a heavy metal concert doesn't mean these walkers are particularly angels. If you started blasting CG5 music over the speaker, they'd follow that too. Afterwards, James asks us if we still see the walkers the same way, and to his disappointment, we still see them as dangerous monsters. AJ briefly asks James if he's ever killed someone, which he says he did a long time ago, before AJ admits to him that he too has killed someone, although trying to atone, which catches James by surprise, and he decides that he can't help us anymore, fearing that too many walkers would die in our hands.
So let me get this straight. If you really had to choose human life or walker life, which is more important? My friends are alive, not kind of or maybe alive. They're trapped and they're afraid. They need my help.
Those raiders are cruel. They force others to be the same, and even if your friends think like you, no one deserves that.
Thankfully, that manages to convince James, with him understanding that no one deserves to be under the ownership of the raiders as he begins his roam to collect more walkers for our attack the night after. When we make it back to the school, we come across Ruby. AJ questions why she's lugging around a bunch of pillows, and she tells us that she plans on throwing a little party before what could well be the last day for some people to lift the spirits before the fight. AJ excitedly asks how he can help, being tasked with designing some colourful decorations, so he gets to work as we place some of the collectibles we found on our journey. Can I draw something on that? What about DJ Fuckhead? Whatever his name was. Beat Nick. Oh, I don't want to speak to AJ. AJ tells us that he actually regrets watching Abel turn into a walker despite him asking to, and he's starting to realise that he wants to become a better person, claiming that he's started thinking about everything a whole lot more, which is actually really healthy to hear, AJ.
What are you thinking about right now? You getting bit. Turning into a monster.
The fuck? Oh, never mind. AJ asks us what would happen if we were to get bit, and we tell him the same as we have told him over all of these years, but he can't help but feel like he can't agree anymore as he gets older.
It does something weird to my stomach. Like I'm gonna get the dookies.
AJ, I need to know you remember what we talked about. What you're supposed to do if it happens.
If you get bit, I'd want you to bite me too. Please don't be mad. I can't live with you not with me, Clem.
We tell AJ he's far too brave and strong to be speaking like this, telling him to not break his promises, but AJ just keeps pushing, referencing James by mentioning if Clem gets bit and he does too, they'll still be with each other one way or another. It's clear we aren't going to get through to him right now, so we tell him to stop immediately, and he grabs his gun and storms out. When AJ leaves, we get a real nice moment with Violet though, in which she talks about how seeing Minnie in the state she was in made her realise that she just needs to move on. Even though Minnie's still alive, it's not the Minnie she remembers, and she promises to not let anyone she loves die. She even goes on to talk about how much she misses Lewis, desperate to get him back to the group too.
You know, when I first got here, I hated him. He was so much. You know, he walks into a room and it's like, look at me, watch me perform. It's so stupid. But then I realized under all that, he really cares about people. I'll tell you every goddamn day how much you mean to him.
She hands us a badge after I subtly make a joke about her.
Lewis, Omar, Asim, we'll get them all back.
Nice posture, Violet. And all of a sudden, AJ comes storming back in to throw a beach ball at us, and we have a game of catch as Violet heads off to help Ruby.
Think fast.
We share a hug with our Apocalypse brother and head off to the party, where everyone who's left is nearly finished setting up, but we still need to find Willie before we begin. We come across him in the office upstairs, and Willie tells us he's composed a pretty awesome plan to not only get our friends back, but to put a stop to the raiders once and for all.
I have an idea about how to stop those assholes coming back to the school after we've rescued the others, and from hurting anyone else ever again. We're gonna blow up the boat.
We tell him that Mitch would love the idea, with Willie suggesting we place bombs in the boiler of the ship, which once the ship sets off, would slowly trigger the bombs to explode the thing into smithereens. With the party clearly picking up from downstairs, we head down and AJ is loving the tunes. Oh, get sturdy, AJ. Okay. We always brush against sturdy as fuck. The vibes of the place are great, with Willie and Ten making up again, wanting to name the bomb Mitch's masterpiece in his memory.
I like that.
Mitch would have too. Okay, then it's settled.
AJ! Oh shit! Why's he hitting that so hard? As everyone has finally settled in, Ruby tells us that she's found all the files for the psych evaluation and probation reports for all the kids who got sent into this school, and what makes them so troubled. So she decides on a game where she reads them out to us for us to guess the person behind them. We guess Ruby's one pretty easily first, a good student which happens to just swear a lot and get into fights with the staff.
I mean, I can totally see it. The first time I met Ruby, she was all, that little motherfucker.
And then Willie voluntarily decides to share his reason behind being at the school too.
You guys want to know why I got sent here?
Willie, please, no.
Chronic masturbation.
How old are you? We switch up the music and all of a sudden the mood dwindles a bit, with the kids reminiscing about all the kids who've died and are no longer at the school, their only memories being these files. Well, to lighten the mood, Violet offers to tell us why she was brought to the school, but instead we insist on telling her that we don't care why, only caring about who she is now. Whatever she did in the past is irrelevant, as that's a completely different person to who we've met, and Ten decides that instead of playing more games, he wants to hear a song, remembering how Minnie used to sing this one he really liked. Violet offers to sing, but remembers that that Lewis isn't here to play it for her, but we get a super wholesome line from Ten in response.
You could just sing it to us, like she used to. Your voice is really pretty.
And it turns out he was right, with everyone enjoying Violet's song as we prepare for our fight the day after.
Never mind the darkness. Never mind the storm. Never mind the blood-red moon. The night will be over soon.
After Violet finishes singing, we head off to sleep, and we get brought into what seems to be a dream of young Clem from the first season on the train, being joined by Lee in what seems to be Clem's favourite place, where Lee had first cut her hair and taught her to shoot. The scene is very wholesome as Lee talks Clementine through coming out of this situation on top, knowing that she's a great survivor and that AJ will come out just fine too, as he knows that she will have raised him brilliantly, telling her how proud he is as AJ wakes us up to tackle the raiders. We make it to the boat not long after, and we drag a walker away that raiders had sniped down, in preparation to cover ourselves in guts to walk through the horde which James is gonna bring.
Now we just need your walker friend. He's here. Good lord.
After everyone introduces themselves, James asks to speak to us in private, while Violet goes and speaks to Ten, presumably about Minnie. When we go to speak to James, he says he wants to talk to us about AJ, starting by retelling a story of when he was with the Whisperers.
The Whisperers were my family. From a young age. In that time, I witnessed a lot of death and suffering. And when another boy expressed sympathy for our enemy before an attack, I slit his throat.
If you've seen the TV show, an act like that really won't come as much of a surprise, but James tries saying that when AJ told him that he'd killed someone, it reminded him of his time at the Whisperers and how cold-blooded he was when he was with them. He tells us that he's concerned that although AJ said he was trying to atone, it was like he was just repeating what he'd been told, not actually meaning it. But we promised to James that we would never let AJ become so out of control, and as the horde arrives, we make our move for the boat. Ruby in charge of releasing the horses, Ten and Willie in charge of dealing with their supplies, and us, Violet and AJ, heading inside to find the kids and to plant the bomb. Ten speaks to us briefly before, mentioning that Violet had told him that Sophie had died, but Minnie was still with the raiders, and simply asks us to tell Minnie, if we see her, that Ten forgives her.
Yeah, sure. If we see her, I'll let her know.
I really like Ten. He's a really sweet kid. And now it's time. Clem sharing a hug with her best friend before making our way, covering ourselves in zombie guts to join the herd. We get another awesome real-time scene where we take cover behind walkers as the raiders start picking them out from afar. And I know I've mentioned it already, but the addition of these more difficult real-time events, rather than quick-time button presses, made the fights and, in general, interaction so much more fun by adding a level of difficulty and challenge, or even puzzle, to get to the next stage of the story. We eventually make it to the pier, where Willie finally lets their supplies downstream to cause even more havoc for the guards to deal with us having to use the cover of the side of the dock to prevent ourselves from being seen, even having to swim under to reach a ladder. Oh my god. Holy shit. They can just do that? I thought the walkers stayed out of the water, but they were walking along the bottom of this river? AJ and Violet make it up the ladder first, but of course we get dragged down, having to kick our way free and just about making it up safely. We then have to keep taking cover as to dodge more snipers. Okay.
Stay close. Stay hidden.
Fuck. As we take out a couple of walkers before finally making our way inside to look for the boiler. We have to dodge plenty of raiders inside, choosing to knock one of them out rather than kill them after they spot us moving behind a crate, and choosing to shoot one in the leg and doing the same before finally coming across the boiler and planting Mitch's masterpiece. We need to find Lewis, Asim and Omar before the raiders start up this boat, because once the engine's going, that bomb is gonna blow. We make our way up a level in the boat, dodging another raider, seriously these guys need glasses, it's embarrassing, before coming across a woman speaking to Minnie, who is seemingly anxious that Ten is out there.
He's not out there, is he?
Look, we've discussed this. Your family is Delta now. There ain't no room for anyone else.
Yes, ma'am.
The lady walks away, but with Minnie as the cell guard, there's no sneaking around her. So we make our appearance known, and she tells us to get the hell out of here. But of course, we aren't doing that without our friends too.
If you got Ten caught up in this, just tell me that he's safe. He told me to tell you. He forgives you.
Surprisingly, Minnie offers to help us as long as we get Ten out safe too, and we find Asim and Omar seemingly unhurt in a cell, but Omar tells us to get Lewis out first because apparently he's not in the best of shape.
Lewis.
Holy shit. Are you kidding me? Well, if it wasn't clear already, Minnie has been completely brainwashed, sucking up to the raiders as if they are truly her actual family, with us waking up in the locked cell. Safe to say Minnie has lost her final chance. I'm not helping her anymore. But if Minnie playing us like that wasn't enough, seeing the state Lewis was in isn't going to make it any better.
Huh? Oh.
Holy shit.
Lewis.
Oh my god.
What did they do to you?
No, don't. They cut out his tongue.
What?
Just, he kept fucking talking.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, Lewis.
I genuinely think this could have been worse than just never seeing him again. The thing that made Lewis so great was how full of life he was, and how he never failed to find the bright side of things. Always talking and joking with people, it seems like he's a completely different person now. It was genuinely devastating to see him like this, and how scared he was when he heard footsteps from afar. I feel like I say this every time, but these guys are genuinely the worst people we've come across in this game. From now on, I don't care. We aren't letting these guys get away with this lightly. Well, we have to find a way out now, but without our knife, we can't do much. What we do have is AJ's makeshift shiv still, so after briefly checking in on Asim and Omar, who are just as scared to talk too.
How you holding up?
I can't talk. If Lily... She told us not to talk.
We start chipping away at the corroding door, quickly getting stopped by Dorian, who fortunately didn't see our knife, which we kick under the bed as Lily makes her appearance, Lewis terrified to see the Wicked Witch. She asks us where Abel is, and AJ answers that question for us, telling Lily bluntly that he got hurt so badly after the fight that we just let him turn. Lily is clearly furious, but after asking Minnie to open our cell door, she realizes how valuable Clem would be to her group, mentioning how usually she would throw someone like us overboard.
I bring a prize like you back to the Delta, it might make this whole clusterfuck of a mission worth it. Someone like you, so young with so much potential, you're far too valuable to kill.
We tell Lily that she's stupid for thinking we would ever fight for her, but she laughs it off, saying that everyone says that when they first join her group, as she starts to recall living with her father Larry as a kid. She speaks of how Larry hated wasting things, especially the electricity, and no matter how much he told her, Lily would always forget to turn them off, and so he let the power get cut to show how actions have consequences.
Well, I guess asshole runs in the family. Is that the consequence? That you're an asshole?
My father had his faults, but he showed me the effectiveness of teaching by example.
Oh, is that what this is? A lesson?
She then proceeds to tell us another story, this one about two twin girls who were taken from their home to live somewhere new. Right, Minnie and Sophie.
They had to leave their friends and family behind, and that was hard at first. They shed a lot of tears.
The story continues about how these twins were given supposedly a much better life, with plenty of food and hot water, being taught how to use guns too, and all that was needed in return was their help in defending the group. But one of these twins refused to let it happen, convincing the other one to steal a raft and leave downriver, but were caught before they could get very far.
What happened then, Minerva?
He killed her.
I killed her.
What the fuck?
She did?
Minnie. No, tell me it's not true.
Your own sister? Why would you do that?
She was twisting my head with her lies. I needed to show my loyalty to the place I call home.
Holy fuck.
Like it or not, you're one of my people now, Clem. The question is, which twin are you going to be? The loyal one? Or the dead one?
Lily has become far worse than we could have ever expected when we first met her, and already it seems she wants to teach us a lesson for not settling into her group and understanding the moral of her story. She tells Dorian to get Violet out of the cell, pinning her to the ground and raising her cleaver to take off her fingers. But now, there's no waiting or playing to be done. We are taking these motherfuckers out, and we're wasting no time in doing so. With AJ sneaking up from behind Dorian, we let him take the risk, and he leaps onto her back, tearing a chunk out of her ear. He gets a little kick to the face in response, but Lily tells Dorian to stop as she drags Violet back in, and AJ can't help but show his rage this time.
You deserve to die.
will kill you!
He tells Lily that he was the one who killed Marlon, and since he wasn't even a monster, he'd have no regrets in killing this bitch, and it seems Lily sees AJ as a valuable asset, dragging him away to have a chat with him as Minnie locks us back in, and Dorian gets told to get the ship moving, starting at the boiler where we have our bomb. We need to move now. Violet is able to distract Minnie for long enough as we easily pick away at the metal door, pushing the boarding back and opening the latch before telling Minnie that she's gonna go down, just like the rest of these evil raiders. And that starts off by slamming the door into her and knocking her down. We manage to get Violet's door unlatched before Minnie gets back up, pins us to the floor, managing to graze us with her knife, and as we wrestle with her, Violet fires an arrow right through her shoulder as we get a Sim and Omar free too, telling them that we'll meet them outside as they leave with Lewis, and we head off to get AJ, making our way to the top deck where Lily has him, but it's clear that with smoke coming from the top of this boat, the boiler is starting to get into full effect. We need to get AJ back quickly, although it seems in the midst of it all, they've got even more on us, finding Ten and even James and bringing them on board. James insists on not falling for Lily's threats, and whether it's because she deems him as unbrainwashable or purely to teach a lesson to AJ, she commands one of the raiders to kill James. But they're not quick enough to stop Ten grabbing one of their pistols and aiming it at them. But it's clear Lily sees right through Ten and how innocent the kid really is, snatching the pistol from him with ease.
We're not a soldier either.
Please, don't!
No!
Nice, AJ. Let's go. James then tackles the other raider, giving us free reign to slam into Lily, knocking her down and disarming her. But Lily's a fighter, and she wrestles us back down, landing a punch and brushing AJ away. We manage to land a swift elbow, but it's not enough for Lily's strength, as she forces us to drop our knife and pins us against the side of the boat. AJ lodging the knife in Lily's leg is enough to help us properly disable her by giving it a couple of kicks, and she's forced to the ground. Come on, 10. Get the gun. Do it.
AJ, wait! I give up. I will give up. Put down the gun. I'll let everyone leave. My crew and I will leave. We won't bother you anymore. Oh!
AJ! She's not a threat. Lower the gun.
You weren't down there. You didn't see what she did. She cut my friend's tongue out.
You don't have to do this, please!
It's a trick!
Don't you fucking dare, AJ!
Give me the gun.
You can't let her hurt anyone else!
I don't want to die! Do it, AJ!
No.
Jesus Christ.
AJ, stop!
Lily is finally done, and AJ makes absolute sure of it by unloading the magazine into her, quite rightfully so. Is Lily the most evil person we've come across in this game? Well, even if she is, there's no time to debate that right now, as it seems the bomb that we planted has finally made its appearance, as it reaches its detonation point and sends us flying. Well, the very final chapter of The Walking Dead begins right back on the Raiders' boat, with Clem visibly shook by the huge explosion that just occurred, and the Swiss cheese that just slid beside her. An aftershock sends Clem's baseball cap down to the river, but there's no time to cry over spilt hats, with AJ calling out for help, hanging on for dear life at the other end of the ship. But with even more explosions, we have to make a break for one of the emergency boats hanging on the side. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, what kind of bomb did Willie make? We managed to catch AJ just in time too as he tries to land with us, pulling him into the boat, but we can't just sit and spectate, desperately looking for a way down now to the ground, noticing a spot that we can probably jump to. After reassuring AJ to push through his fears, he comfortably makes the leap, but as for us, this boat looks like it's hanging on by a thread. We tell AJ to meet us by the pier as we look for our own escape route, leaping for the side of the ship as the rescue boat falls, dodging falling debris and balls of fire, and eventually making it to the pier with AJ. Shit, let's go. Okay, can we get away from this boat now?
Got something.
Oh, you serious? Do you not have bigger fish to fry? We take down our attacker with absolute ease, no problems whatsoever, before getting as far away as possible with one final explosion to take the boat out. It seems we didn't manage to get far enough away from the exploding ship, waking up not soon after on the ground. Fortunately, with Lewis coming in to give an incoming walker a caveman-style lobotomy.
Lewis! You made it!
You have no idea how happy I am to see you right now.
I can't believe these guys. Doesn't even feel like him anymore. We shoot down Violet's attacker and she tells us that she doesn't know where Minnie's gone since the ship blew up. And we notice two of the raiders still fighting off walkers as we come across a Sim and Omar hiding, looking desperately for a way through the crowd of zombies. We spot Willie and Ruby over by the horses, trying to find a route out for us to leave with them, although after a Sim calls out for Willie at the top of his lungs. A Sim, shut up! The raiders notice us and for some reason still want our blood, despite the hundreds of walkers surrounding them. Willie narrowly avoids a bullet before we send an arrow straight at the shooting raider, and as for the other one, her bloodlust for Clementine distracts her from the real issue in the apocalypse, bringing her demise to follow, leaving just Minnie behind, who continues to battle for her life against the walkers, almost steaming with rage at the loss of all the people in her community. She unsurprisingly gets bitten in the process, and we could save her and take her arm off to bring her with us, but she's had plenty of chances. That ain't happening. Ruby and Willie finally let the horses go to help us make an escape, and so we start taking out the oncoming walkers as the others slowly press forwards to the horse and cart, where we see Minnie continue to fail in her fights. Well, there goes Minnie.
Clementine!
What the fuck? Fuck you! The loud explosion sends the horses rearing and running away, leaving us split from the group once again, and now knifeless after the escapades we faced on the boat. We now need to dodge and weave through all the walkers, especially since we finally found 10. We just narrowly make our way past them all and take out another that gets the jump on us, Leon Kennedy style, for 10 to finish it off. Good shit, 10. Got my knife. As we make a run for it, we even come across James by a cave, being forced inside by walkers still hot on our tails, and as AJ and 10 rush inside, James stops to say something.
I saw his eyes when he did it. I saw the bloodlust in them.
What are you talking about?
Come on, James. I get the whole peaceful thing, but come on. I don't think you quite know what Lily did. We dismiss his message as just genuine ignorance and move further into the cave, catching up with 10 to tell him about how we saw Minnie get bitten, which doesn't seem to upset 10 too much as he finds happiness in the idea that she'll join Sophie in the afterlife now that she's gone, and so we make a torch to get a better view of the other side of the cave, realizing we need to find a way to cross this pretty fast stream to make a way out. So with the walkers getting even closer, we have to rush to push a large log into the water, getting it caught on a rock and allowing us to creep our way across just in time as the log slips away last second to fortunately block the walkers from reaching us. As we push onwards, we come across a room that seems to have several potential exits, but as we ask 10 if he can spot light coming down any of the tunnels, we get stopped in our tracks by James.
You brought this on yourself.
What the fuck?
But it's not too late.
Let go!
James, what are you doing? James is desperate to leave with AJ to prevent us from turning him into an evil killer. This switch up caught me by total surprise, and it seems James has almost lost his mind when it comes to stopping anyone else in the world from becoming senseless killers. We don't have to do much to stop him as AJ bites himself free once again and slashes at James's hand as he tries to approach us again. James is now furious, telling us that we are the one that made AJ this way, and is outraged that we let him be the one to kill Lily too.
You made him this way. You had him empty an entire clip into that woman's head!
It was only half a clip.
Yeah.
She deserved to die, and you know it!
By his hand? In that way?
I liked it.
What?
I liked killing her. It made me feel strong. I don't care if it was murder. I don't care if it was anything. It felt good.
We tell AJ that we've never told him to speak like that about killing, and it's not how you should feel about it too. But AJ insists that anyone who tries to hurt the group deserves what's coming for him. Killing Lily kept us all safe, and he insists there's nothing wrong with that. James can't believe what he's hearing, and tells us that if we can change AJ without his help, we should go ahead and do so.
I know this world is hard. For us, for you especially. And killing, it's almost unavoidable these days. Having to do it, having to let you do it, we've learned we have to live with it. but you can't ever like it.
AJ asks us if we're glad that Lily's dead, especially since we said that she deserved it, but we cement the idea to AJ that he went too far. Taking her out while she was a threat was necessary, but turning her into Swiss cheese was completely unjust and pretty scary. So we tell him to never speak like he did about taking a person's life again, but James doesn't seem to find our teaching good enough, throwing us to the floor and doing his best to take AJ again. But once more, AJ isn't leaving. James can't seem to control his rather muted anger, claiming that all we know is violence and death, and his peaceful philosophy is all that has kept him human since leaving the Whisperers. But it's time he perhaps gets his head out of the fantasy world he believes is possible.
It takes more than words. You can't just talk people into being peaceful. You think I don't want a life like that for AJ, for myself? God, I'd love to live in a world where I didn't have to worry about killing or dying. But that's just not how things fucking work. Not yet. And what you're doing now isn't going to change that.
James is clearly becoming torn on what's right, wrong, possible, and impossible. And as he steps away to fight with his thoughts, AJ asks us to let him be able to make his own decisions, with him claiming he knows how to do right in the apocalypse. But we can't help but tell him he clearly isn't ready. The kid can't be trusted to make such important and decisive calls when his emotions and actions are so erratic and dependent on his feelings. He won't put his brain first, and someone else will only get hurt. The characters in this season are so interesting, and the length of conversation and interaction we get with many of them allows us to delve into such rich and unique personalities. I understand where James's beliefs can be something that he strives towards with such great intent, but such pacifistic intentions are only something to aim for in the future. They're completely unrealistic in the world we currently find ourselves in, just as AJ's been suggesting. So with such conflicting beliefs and a group of walkers seemingly heading into our side of the caves, James demands we run for safety as he deals with the walkers coming in. On the way out, 10 tells us about how a sim was a third vote to keep us in the community after Marlon was killed. His reason being that he could already tell that the group would be safer with a strong survivor like Clem in it, and 10 just really keeps himself as a frontrunner for the most wholesome character in the game.
I voted for you because I liked you, but his reason, it was better. I just thought you should know. The sim was right. We were safer.
A rustle in the bushes stops our cute moment abruptly, only for it to be Violet coming back to check on us, sharing an embrace with 10, Clem and AJ, absolutely ecstatic to see us all alive, reassuring us that everyone else is okay too after making it back to the school. And we start heading back to make it there safely too. And on the journey, we get a super heartwarming moment with Violet, where she tells us about how for a moment she thought all three of us were dead, and how she struggled to even think about what she'd do if Clem had really gone.
I was trying to figure out what I'd do if you were gone. And I realized how goddamn stupid I was about Minnie. For a whole fucking year. I was so wrapped up in losing her and Sophie, I pushed away everyone who tried to care about me. Even you and AJ, I tried my damnedest not to care about either of you. And I still couldn't tell you why.
Because you were afraid of losing someone else. It's understandable.
I was a goddamn coward. I'm not a coward anymore.
The two share stories of their childhood and what their homes used to be like, before promising to turn the school into the home that they've all been dreaming of, somewhere where they can feel truly safe. And the school just so happens to not be too far from this bridge we have to cross. What could possibly go wrong? We slowly make our way through the bridge, climbing over the parked truck blocking the path, and inching ever so slowly towards what can only be described as a big fucking no-no zone. Oh, shitting hell.
Should be able to jump it. It's not that far.
Yeah, I think we can. We just gotta be careful not to land too hard.
What the fuck? What the fuck is Minnie? What the fuck?
Minnie? What?
Somehow, just somehow, Minnie is still alive, luring tons of zombies over to the bridge by singing that same song Violet sang to us earlier, and she's here to get revenge, immediately doing her best to drag 10 along with her.
You're dying.
Yes, I am. I'm finally going someplace better. I want you there with me.
Where everyone gets to be a person again?
We're gonna go be with Mom and Dad and Sophie.
We tell Ten that what he's seeing isn't his sister anymore, and that he needs to just ignore her, but as Minnie fires a shot into the air to attract even more walkers, we take cover behind the truck, with all of us pleading with Minnie to just let us go and stop what she's doing. But as Ten continues to fall for her facade of joining her in a better place, Minnie starts opening fire on Clem as AJ tackles Ten to the ground, leaving Minnie to take a step back into the crowd of the undead under the cover of their scent. Violet starts helping Ten and AJ cross the gap in the bridge as we start taking out incoming walkers, whilst periodically dodging shots from Minnie, who keeps on getting closer herself, until eventually Violet comes back to us telling us that AJ got across, but Ten isn't moving under the conflict of his feelings, meaning we have to take down Minnie, who must be somewhere in that crowd. Oh shit. We just narrowly dodge an axe swing, Hank Schrader style, before Violet takes out a walker that grabs us while we're down, leaving Minnie to now tackle Violet. We get forced into a tussle with the half-eaten woman, who needs to reload, allowing us to grapple with her pistol. After headbutting her away, our shot misses when Minnie spits blood in our face, and lands an axe swing straight into Clem's leg. But we aren't about to lose when we're so close to home, getting a hold of Minnie's pistol and landing a shot in her chest for her to topple backwards into the walkers. But even now, Ten still can't budge his faithful delusions.
Get across. I'll get 10.
Are we going to be able to? Oh god. Oh.
Tennessee, move your fucking ass now!
Come on, AJ.
Let him go! You'll die if you don't!
Violet! No! You have got to be kidding me. It seems as though if I had have trusted AJ to make his own calls back in the cave, Violet would have made it out of that situation alive. Sometimes I just don't want my choices to matter in this game. What a heartbreaking death to have so late on in the final season. For someone who was so important to Clem to die once again was just awful. And it all came from Ten's potential fear and lack of survival instinct. AJ slaps him out of it with even more walkers incoming, not even giving us a chance to mourn. So Ten finds a wire fence to climb over, but with even more of the undead appearing on his side, he can't help us make it over too. So we tell him to just run straight for home as us and AJ look to climb up the side of a small hill to get away, lifting AJ up first before making our climb right after.
Grab on!
Come on. No! Holy shit, what? We finally managed to get away after AJ pulls us up, and all of a sudden, after such a great victory at the boat, everything has come crumbling down, peeling back our boot to unveil the bite mark left right next to our axe wound.
I got bit.
It's not like we're even able to take off the leg immediately to stop the infection spreading, with walkers still on our tails. God damn, you guys want a fucking autograph or something? Using the axe as a crutch, we limp our way through the woods, and despite Clem's hopes in making it out okay, AJ is understandably concerned about his big sister. With every second the leg is left untreated, more likely it is that Clem's not going to make it. But fortunately, we come across James's barn, which is now empty after he lured all those zombies to the ship for us. Oh, for fuck's sake. We shoot and slash our way towards the barn, with Clem's eyes and skin starting to lose their colour, but still hundreds of zombies push towards the barn. AJ gets the door open, and we push ourselves through the pain to get through the horde. AJ helping us along to get there, just like how it went down in Savannah, eventually falling in and getting the door shut, lodging a pitchfork through the handles as our POV switches to AJ. With our work still cut out for us, we're forced to shut each of the inner barn doors as the walkers push their way through the dilapidated exterior, AJ rushing to reach each one, leaving Clem to give cover fire, too weak to walk and shut them herself. How strong is that motherfucking zombie? Come on, AJ. Good stuff. Only one door is left to close, but with no ammo left, it's time for AJ to show what he's learned. Taking down the oncoming walkers just like Clem would, getting that final door shut where we can finally be safe for a moment. With Clem demanding AJ to find a safe way out, he spots a ladder where we can get to the upper area of the barn where we can't be reached, but Clem knows, and I know, from the state that she's in now, any sort of climb is going to be impossible, and it looks like we're going full circle to where this series all began.
I need you.
Oh, God. Don't be upset.
This is actually full circle, what the fuck?
This is just what happens sometimes.
But it wasn't supposed to happen to you.
My little goofball.
It's Alvin Jr.
You'll always be goofball to me. You're such a cutie. How did I get so lucky?
This is not how it ends.
Please, don't be silly right now.
I just wanted to see you smile. One last time.
Don't say that. Please. Don't say that.
Clem makes sure to go through each of the rules that she taught AJ, the first being to never go alone.
Never go alone. So I can't leave, not without you.
We tell him that he won't be alone, as long as he gets back to the school. We tell him to take the axe and cover himself in the walker guts, and make sure he knows the second rule, to always shoot them in the head. But with no ammo left, I guess there's only one more rule for him to follow.
And the last rule.
I want to stay with you. I know what'll happen. And I don't care. I don't want to go. I just want to sit next to you and stay. Like that monster couple from the train station.
Oh, God.
Even if someone kills us later, we'll just sit for a really long time. Please. Let me stay.
Oh, sorry, kid. But no. I have a job for you.
This isn't how
I
it
need
ends.
you to get back to your room. I need you to sleep in your bed and have friends and grow tall. Taller than I ever was, I hope. I need you to live, AJ. For me. That's your job now.
Okay, Clem. That's my job.
Last rule.
No.
What do we do if I get bit? Are you gonna make me say it? Fine. AJ, you have to kill me.
Oh.
Don't let me become one of them. Be a good boy. Kill me.
Before you said...
I know. But now that we're here, my heart is saying something else.
No.
Fuck you, Telltale. Those weren't tears. They were manly eye sweats, okay? With Clementine's story coming to an end, we get given a flashback, with Clementine from season 3, on top of a horse which had been seen earlier in a nightmare at the school, arriving at what can only be described as a besieged castle of sorts, fires lighting up the place. We get brought down as a man fires at us, hitting our poor horse instead, which acts as cover as we land a shot on the guy who, out of ammo, is forced to answer our questions.
I'm looking for a boy. He's about 3 years old. His name's Alvin Jr.
Or not. This place is supposedly the ranch where David had sent AJ to live several years ago, and by the looks of the guy in here, this place has been victim of an absolutely merciless attack, which is proven after he points to the direction of where the kids are being kept. We make our way past more fire and wreckage to reach the nursery, taking out a lady who seemed to be taking care of the kids despite her life being in danger, which does make this kill regrettable, but trust me, I couldn't do anything about it. Inside the lockers that lady was tending to, we find a little baby AJ, being kept away from all the chaos going on outside.
It's me, Clem.
Oh my god. Oh, he's so tiny. Clem carries AJ out to a car that had been left in the ranch to bring him back under her wing, and it leaves to explain that nightmare which Clementine had with the horse earlier on. The guilt she must have felt for killing these people at the ranch, regardless of them being under self-defense, must have been excruciating, especially that poor lady who was taking care of AJ, only raising her gun at Clementine as she believed she was one of the violent attackers. And just like that, Clem left the place with AJ, and it leaves a distressing and lonely atmosphere behind, with so many questions that need answering. And it doesn't help that we see AJ and Clem like this after what just happened at James's barn.
But it's okay, we're survivors, and the first rule of survival is never go alone.
Never go alone.
Oh.
Clem?
Yeah, that's right. We'll go find ourselves a new home, together. And I'll never leave you again.
God damn it. I'm not crying. You are. What the fuck, Telltale? We return to the present day, AJ spearfishing by the school shack with the help of Rosie. After failing miserably though at catching more than one fish. Fuck.
I give up.
Hey, if Jesus made it work, so can AJ. We put the spear back in the shack and all of a sudden are on high alert, with Rosie barking at something coming from the woods, only for it to be Ten, who has finally appeared after making that escape by the bridge.
Everyone thought you died. Because, you know, you're you.
No, I'm okay.
Oh. He apologises profusely for letting Violet get killed back there and for not listening to us or Clem, but AJ continues to teach others what Clem taught him, forgiving Ten and recognising that the kid is just clearly traumatised for what's happened during his life. He's not a born survivor, and some people can't completely overcome their past, and on his journey back to the school after following the river, he shows us that he'd found Clem's hat too. AJ and Ten have a really sweet conversation together, with Ten showing how he almost looks up to AJ, with him believing he was naive to suggest that Minnie and Sophie would be in a better place after passing away.
I remember. You said you sometimes drew your sisters like the walkers left them instead.
Naive means you think a certain way because you don't know the way it really is. When I saw Minnie's body for real, how the walkers left her, I realized those drawings were stupid. Can you teach me to be like you instead?
AJ agrees to help teach Ten what he knows, and Ruby appears to let them know that dinner's ready. Ecstatic to see that Ten's made it back okay, so the kids head back to the school, where despite missing his big sister of the apocalypse, everything is starting to look a lot better for the kids of the school, and the sacrifices made to make the place safer have seemingly been worth it in the end.
What you doing there, goofball?
What? He did chop off her leg! Oh my god!
Whoa, easy there.
He did!
You're out of bed! You're walking! And you have wood-armed legs!
Crutches.
Oh, thank fuck. Telltale, I don't even know what to say to you guys anymore. After all of those emotions, Clem was fine all along, with that axe being lifted to take Clem's leg off to stop the infection. With her free time at the school, she's even made AJ a tire swing. It seems as though Minnie landing that axe into Clem's leg restricted the blood flow to the rest of her body enough to stop her from becoming a walker.
This is fun. I love today.
Me too. It's good to see you smile.
Food's ready, everyone! Come and get it!
You're the best, Clem.
It's gonna get cold!
And there it is. If you're not smiling right now, there's gotta be something wrong with you. All the kids are settled down, having dinner with each other once again. Ruby feeding a Sim, Willie flicking food at Omar, and even Lewis has a smile back on his face. It could have ended a whole lot brighter with Violet joining them too and Lewis singing one of his shit songs again, but it feels like for once, everything that had been fought for and everything that had been lost had all finally been for something good. And so we head back inside to place Clem's baseball cap down to draw this amazing series to its end.
And you make me smile. You make me smile. You make me smile just thinking